Welcome back to another video, guys. Smacky OG here. Surprise, surprise, I am back. I know it's been a long hiatus. I dropped the video a couple weeks ago. I've been thinking about making this one for a little while, and I was like, you know what, let me just make it. I kind of am having more fun just making these videos, talking, freestyling, just throwing my thoughts out there. And I feel like I get a better ROI when I don't try as much as compared to when I actually write out a video, have a script, have fully thought out ideas. It's a lot more effort for that. And to be honest, I have like 3 other channels that I actually make content on, so this one I don't care as much on. I don't care much about because it's just for fun, man. It's just gaming, things that I like about Overwatch, Rivals, other games maybe here soon in the future. But yeah, anyways, maybe I come back this year. If I do make videos, it's gonna be on topics that I actually want to talk about and not forcing myself to stay with a set schedule. I think that schedule really kind of killed me. Felt like I was just force feeding slop, just making videos to make videos, not even enjoying it. So last video I had an idea, threw it out there, and it scratched an itch that I completely forgot about. And that's kind of the reason I'm making today's video. And I've been thinking about this for a little while. I still play Overwatch, still play Rivals, not as much as I used to, I'll be honest. Busy with other priorities, stuff like that, whatever. But Overwatch, man, it's been right around a year since they released both perks and stadium mode. Now, stadium mode came in like April or whatever. I don't really care. I don't play that game mode anymore, but that'll be a whole separate video. But today's video, what I really want to talk about is perks, and whether or not Overwatch should consider adding a 3rd level to the perks. Now, that is probably very controversial. Now, a lot of people play this game super competitively, right? People are gonna, perks already are controversial. Some people like them, some people don't. Me, I'm one of the few people that I think actually enjoys perks. I'm not gonna say few. I don't know how many people. I haven't really gauged on the internet and seen how many people actually enjoy perks, but I think perks was a smart move. It differentiated itself like Marvel Rivals did with the team ups, right? It's a whole new factor. And then what I think was cool was that the way I took perks was it was a premise to just discourage counterswapping, right? Like if you stick on a hero long enough, you'll get these level 1, level 2 perks, and they'll just stack on whatever route you choose, right? And you're just going to become a more enhanced version of that character. Now, with me being a Doomfist main, I think top 3 most hated tanks, arguably, right? Like, so many people hate him, playing against him. Even the people who play him hate him, right? Because he gets countered by like half the heroes in the game. But with the perks, man, it makes him super viable. And that's what I loved about him, right? Whenever they buff Doom, they just make him too OP. But when they nerf him, he just becomes so bad. There's no real good middle ground. But I think, recently, past like 4 or 5 months or so, he's been at a really good spot. He has a good health pool, good abilities. These perks are really what made him viable in my eyes. I always go the right side. I do the extra defense, and then I do his block and absorb abilities instead of taking them, right? Like if Orisa throws a spear, boom, I absorb it. I don't even get canceled out of my shield. Now, going off of that, I feel like both level 1 and level 2 perks, whatever the correct terminology is, light perk, heavy perk, whatever the terms are, I'm gonna call them level 1 and level 2. I think they're just too quick and easy to get. Within one fight, I'm already getting the first perk. It's guaranteed by like fight 3, I have the second perk, unless I'm just having a terrible game. I think that goes across the board, especially in competitive, right? Like people are genuinely trying, their aim is off the charts, they're farming for kills, whatever it may be. I feel like people actually get the perks way too quick. Now, some people are gonna say, hey, that's a good thing, getting them early as compared to dragging it out. I'm not saying to delay the amount of time it takes to get a perk. It's like an ult, right? Increasing the ult charge requirements. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is adding a 3rd level. Now, this is going to be a very, very controversial take. Mainly because a 3rd perk is going to be super rewarding. Now, you got to kind of balance that, right? With how quick you get perk 1 and perk 2. The third perk, you have to take even more time, and you have to have, you know, whatever may be the requirements, like an alt charge, whatever the percentages for like whatever the points are. I don't know how they calculate perks and how they get them. That's gonna have to increase by a lot. But we already have an issue with perks being unbalanced, right? Look at Hanzo. Hanzo still, in my opinion, has like the worst perks in the game. I'm not a fan of his sonar perk, right? Shoot a sonar arrow and then it hacks nearby health packs. Cool, right? But what does that really enhance in his abilities? Same thing with his arrows. I'm not, you know, the increased fire speed, sure, we need that, but like, it's only if you hit a shot. Which of course makes sense, but it's just, I don't know how to explain it, man. Hanzo, I don't like his perks. And I love Hanzo. He's a very fun character to play. Very rewarding to play when you hit those shots. But then you take that, and then you look at a guy like Doomfist. Like, I play Doom, I'm gonna bring him up every chance that I get. But his perks are just busted, man. I know he had rework done, but I still don't use the left side perks. You know, I always go the right hand path. Both right for both perks. I tend to be very aggressive, so it forces a sense of defense on me, which is why I like going R1 and R1, right? I play PS5, so that's what I'm going to call it. The right hand branch. Now if I go left hand, it forced me to be even more aggro, extremely more aggressive. And I don't think my team ever needs that, because I'm already aggressive as it is. You know, I'm aggressive enough. But level 3 perks, man. What would this do? You know, like I said before, it would have to be balanced like crazy. You know, it'll be super rewarding, I think, and it'll promote even more that whole premise I brought up earlier about discouraging counterswapping, right? It'll make people, it'll promote them to actually stick to a character. You know, that'll be more fun in my eyes, where people just stay on who they're playing instead of being like, oh, this is Zarya, let me go Winston. And then the enemy swap into like whoever the counter is for Winston, I can't think off the top of my head. Or seeing a Doom as a Reinhardt. Dude, I've beaten Dooms. I mean, I've beaten Reinhardts as Doom, and then I get cooked by Reinhardts. Like, there's no middle ground for me. There's either like elite Reinhardts that just cook the hell out of me, or I'm just whooping. Generational belt. You know? Just whooping the Reinhardt. So it's like, and what I love is when a Reinhardt sticks on, and those, they stay on even if they're getting beaten. You know, I always stay on Doom even if I'm getting beaten by Ryan. I like a little ego with your characters, man. And that's kind of like the whole point, man. Counterswapping is kind of stupid. Which I think level 3 perks would kind of even promote more. Just sticking on your character. You can, you know, have game-changing abilities. Which brings me right back to the balance thing. Because if you think about it, anything more than 3 perks, what are we doing? That's going to be way too hectic. That's going to be super hard to keep track of, number one. Saying like, oh, they chose this perk, XYZ perk. What's the most beneficial combo? Da-da-da-da, whatever it may be. Less than 3, I feel like is just a little too... It's just a little not enough. It's just not enough, simply put. Right? Which, again, is going to be controversial, but whatever, that's my take. I'm not super competitive. I'm not no top 500, and maybe I get there one day. I don't really want to try. I actually have a life, you know. No disrespect to you guys, you know. Luka Doncic actually, he's top 500 and he's in the NBA. But let me get back to the point, bro. Like, I'm straight rambling. Level 3 perks. What are we doing for abilities, man? Like, we already have busted abilities. Point being, Doom's block that absorbs projectiles for like the first half second. Still insane, very clutch, increases his survivability by like tenfold in my opinion, and then just like supercharges his punch every time, which is like, he's just even more unkillable if you're playing a good Doom. And I've got whooped by Dooms, bro, who are way better than me. I'm not anywhere near as close as like those dudes, like Zebra, bro. Those people are insane. But Doom's still my favorite character. Whatever. I'm just gonna keep bringing that up. I don't care. But bro, like, what are we gonna do for abilities, right? Like, I'm not a game dev, right? I don't develop games. I don't create these abilities. But what will we do? How would we enhance number one, his more aggressive side. How do we make Dooms more aggro? Versus how do we make him more defensive and benefit staying with the team and actually playing tank compared to just, mollywopping the floor and just wiping the floor with the enemy team. Off rip, I'm just thinking like, hey, maybe the third perk like increases his regular primary fire by like to 6 shots. Way more poking. You stay behind walls more maybe, and then you can finish off enemies way more. It's just much better success rate, but I don't know if that translates well enough to a 3rd level perk. Whatever it may be, right? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, what kind of abilities you'd like to see as a 3rd perk. But, for his defensive side, I don't know, maybe they bring back that shield he had in Counterwatch. That was kind of that was a fun time. I never really played it, because I didn't really know how to play Doom as a shield hero, but maybe they do something like that, right? Level 3 perks, they're going to have to be game-changing, but they're also going to have to be balanced enough. And when I say balanced enough, they can be broken. We got broken characters. Look at Vendetta, bro. Look at Doomfist. Even Doomfist was broken at a point. He still is to some people, whatever. But Vendetta, clear point. I think that's the most recency bias pick I could use, but she's busted, bro. She's killing people left and right. She's very fun to use and super rewarding. But going up against a good Ven, you're getting cooked, bro. Now, how do you balance that? Especially with a whole another set of perks for every single hero. You gotta put in so much time and effort understanding what would work, how to do it, and then, executing. Execute that 3rd level. I think that is what Overwatch might need, just to make it a little more spicy. Now, I don't think they should put it in competitive right away. Maybe they just throw it in like the QP matches, see how it works, experimental. How they usually go with those things. Maybe they do like a rollout, how they do like the 1 week hero trials. Oh wow, that was a bad voice crack. The 1 week hero trials, same sort of situation, man. Like, you just make an extra perk for every single person, which is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. I understand that, a lot of manpower. But maybe that does spice up the game, and maybe that does discourage counter-swapping enough to maybe, just bring it down a notch. Because I am tired of the counter-swaps, and I do think perks are a little too easy to get. I have had fights where I've just been selling the game, and I only get like the first perk and never touch the second, because I'm just getting cooked the whole round. Right? My team is just selling me, or I'm selling the team, more specifically, and I never get my second perk. Great example of just why the hell do we need a 3rd level if you can't even get the second? But in more serious games, I'm always getting the second one, and it's just too quick. Now, the 3rd one, again, I know I'm going in circles, but I think it just needs to be said one more time. It would have to be super rewarding. They would have to actually be game-changing perks. They would need enough, again, I don't know the correct terminology, like trade-off, however they calculate it, it has to increase the requirements to get that perk. Maybe it's the same requirements as adding both level 1 and level 2 together, right? Whatever that calculation is, if like level 1 is like 100 requirement, right? Like 100%. Level 2 is 200%. Maybe we make level 3 300. 1 plus 2 is 3. So 300%. Which would, in essence, double the time it would take to get to that perk as compared to finishing both perk 1 and perk 2. But to get to level 3, you would actually have to stick on that character, and you would have to stay on that character in hopes to get to level 3, right? You stay on that character, you grind them out, you stay on, you do not swap, so that you can actually get to the next level. And, you're doing that in hopes to, hey, I stuck on this character long enough where I will now be rewarded with a somewhat broken ability. And some people are going to be like, hey, that's bad, right? We don't want broken characters. We don't want broken abilities. But if you look at it, not only would you get it, but if the enemy team has like some sort of crazy comp going on, where they would also get level 3, then it's a win-win on both sides. You both have broken abilities, and that kind of like, now that I think about it, broken ability on one team just for, not counter swapping, big reward. The second team, man, same thing. If they decide not to counter swap, again, another broken ability. And that kind of leaves us at the same point at Overwatch, at what Overwatch is today, But, I think it's a lot better than what it used to be. Point being, maybe this isn't that much of a good idea, but I think it is a good enough idea to think about. Broken ability 1, 2, and then 3, or, perk level 1, level 2, level 3, level 3 being a whole broken ability, pretty much game changing. Again, like I keep saying, it's gotta have to be super rewarding for you to stay on that character and not swap. That's all that I'm really pushing for, and I think it'll spice up the gaming, the whole interactions, just staying. It's just gonna be a more fun game. That's what I think. That's my thought process. I'm open to feedback. I'm open to hearing what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think there should be a third level to perks? Are perk 1 and perk 2, those two levels too quick to get? Are they too easy to get? Do you think perks have done a good job of discouraging counter swapping across the board? Do you think a level 3 perk would be something Overwatch should incorporate in the future, right? I think it'd be super rewarding. But yes, it would definitely be very hard to balance, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you could let some broken abilities go here and there, right? But, whatever. Maybe that's the point. You give them broken abilities on purpose to further reward them for staying on a character. But that'll be kind of, annoying to deal with in the long run, especially if people do end up swapping, except for one person, and they just have a nutty ability that just cooks everyone, and they can't even grow and get to the third level and take them out. Whatever, bro. This doesn't exist, so I'm just gonna, leave it up in the air. Oh my god. Fun freestyle video, man. Like, I'm just rambling for borderline 20 minutes, and yeah. Like always, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. You think more than 3 perks is too much? Do you think less than 3 is too little? Because that's what I think. I think 3 is the perfect middle ground, and it'll scratch that itch. Reward those players for not counter swapping and staying on their heroes. And yeah, let me know how broken and unbalanced this would be if Overwatch did go on to do this. If you guys do actually agree with me, though, let me know your thoughts down in the comments on like what abilities they should incorporate. Like, I didn't really give it much thought. I just said some random BS for Doom, right? But like, I don't know, man. Thinking about like Mercy, what would she have? Genji, bro, like Sigma. I don't know. Like, they already have cool abilities. I think across the board perks were a super cool feature that was just added and enhanced the gameplay even more, right? Like, the game was already fun, but like that kind of created a new level of ambiguity to just spice things up. And again, you could talk about how Marvel Rivals influenced them with the team up feature. They kind of forced their hand and they made this, but it was a good move on Overwatch's part, and it wasn't a straight copy, and it was, what's the word? A response. It was their response to team ups and how Marvel Rivals was differentiating themselves within the hero shooter genre. And I think it was a good move on Overwatch's part. Blizzard, maybe you see this video. You definitely not seen this video, if I'm being honest, bro. Like, I do not get views. But if you do, let me know what you think, man. Like, maybe you should think about this. 3 perks, kind of cool, guys. Anyways, let me wrap it up. I know I try wrapping up like 2-3 times, but this is the final one. Thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. Last video got almost 1,000 views, and I didn't expect that sort of engagement. So hoping for some engagement, bro. Like, what am I saying? Holy, bro, I'm selling right now. Yeah, I don't really care, but just gonna keep freestyling videos, man. Let me know if you want more videos like this in the future. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, what you think about the video. Is the idea stupid? Level 3 perks. Let me know your thoughts. Or just talk to me down in the comments, guys, Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. Alright, Smacky OG out, man. I don't really know how I used to end these, but yeah. Catch y'all in the next one. If that ever comes out. Peace.